I would like to address Donald Trump's recent post on Truth Social about South Africa. As an ordinary South African, I believe this issue impacts many of us. However, it has also caused a division that I haven't witnessed in quite some time. Welcome to the Riaan Roux Show, where I look at those stories that affect every South African in some or other way. In the early hours of February 3, 2025, President Donald Trump posted the following message on his Truth Social account. While I won't read it, I will display it on screen for you to see. This post was also shared by Elon Musk on X, and it quickly went viral across the internet and various social media platforms, including Facebook. Reactions to this post have varied widely, from enthusiastic agreement, particularly from conservative South Africans, to shock, anger, and strong disagreement from especially liberals. This is one of those posts that requires a careful response, as it could inadvertently create enemies. It is a somewhat ambiguous, pivotal post that has caused divisions amongst groups that were supposed to be working together on both sides of the political spectrum. No matter how you respond, it feels like you risk making an enemy somewhere. My initial reaction to the post and the video where Donald Trump responded to a journalist with the same answers was, where did this come from? While I support Trump's interest in addressing issues in South Africa that negatively impact minorities, it appears that some of the information he has received is either incorrect or somewhat out of context. However, this does not mean that I oppose investigating these issues. I have frequently warned in private conversations that people need to be very careful about the information that and its context that is shared with the world. If we disseminate information that is emotionally exaggerated or in some cases false, it is later dismissed as a conspiracy theory after investigation. It will then become even more challenging to seek help in the future. I want to clarify that this video is not intended to be racist or support liberalism, but I am sure there will be those who believe otherwise, especially those who support the ANC. As a member of a minority group currently suffering under the ANC's guise of redressing past inequalities, it feels like political revenge against me and my minority group for actions taken long before my time. I have the right to live in peace in this country. I was born here after all, but it becomes increasingly difficult when I'm told to go back to Europe or wherever my forefathers came from. This then becomes a bad situation, which the radical left media doesn't want to mention. It is a bad situation when BEE prevents me from getting work, as I am a member of the minority group who has to suffer under the hand of the majority for something I did not do. This is indeed a bad situation. There are more racist laws in South Africa now than there were during apartheid. In South Africa, democracy has been weaponized by the majority to suppress minority rights, enact revenge, rather than serve as a tool for equitable governance. Indeed, Mr. Trump, here is a bad situation, a massive human rights violation. South Africa is experiencing land confiscation, not by the government, but by the majority who voted for the ANC, to whom the ANC promised land. They are invading farmland owned by private individuals and, in some cases, government land. In July last year, the Economic Freedom Fighters, the EFF, and the South African Human Rights Commission, the SAHRC, tried to prevent Cape Town the Cape Town City Council, from taking action against illegal occupiers of municipal land. These individuals confiscated the land by invasion and were protected by the SAHRC. Numerous instances of private land being occupied in a similar fashion can be found in the news. On Monday, February 3, Julius Malema also stated, "We want to make it categorically clear to the US President that we will expropriate land without compensation and pursue legislative measures to do so, and no threat will stop us." In Sheshego, in Limpopo, ANC voters have recently started invading land, claiming they were prompted by the newly signed Land Expropriation Act. They argue they have been without land for years and see this as an opportunity to create residential areas. The signing of the Expropriation Act has emboldened them to take action rather than waiting for the government, which has yet to act to remove these legal invaders, indirectly thus supporting this land confiscation.
We are going to continue to expropriate the land without compensation. So we are going to grab each and every farm that no one is using for it, because this land belongs to our grandfathers. So we are not going to stop. We are continuing to give people the stance. So far, so good. We give people plus minus 5,000 shacks.
The group says they've been waiting for years for the government to address the issue of land reform. They say the new Land Expropriation Act, signed by President Cyril Ramaphosa, allowed them to take over pieces of land not in use.
Liberals, ANC supporters and far leftists often argue that white South Africans own over 70% of the land. However, this data is based on the 2017 land audit and is somewhat misleading. Since 1994, the government has transferred over 19 million hectares of farmland to black farmers, which means that 25% of farmland is now black owned, not 4% as the old data suggests. Very little of this farmland is from the Northern Cape, which is mostly arid grazing land that few desire, except those white farmers who make a living in these harsh conditions. By the way, South Africa actually only has about 16.7 million hectares of potential arable land. So when you consider that most black farmers seem to prefer arable land, then it is possible that they now own a considerable chunk when one considers over 19 million hectares is now black owned. When considering both agricultural and urban land, white South Africans only own about 22% of the total land area in South Africa. Therefore, new and updated data is urgently needed. But will the government be bringing out new data anytime soon? They know that updating this information and bringing out new data will reveal that more land is now black owned than previously mentioned. It is also often overlooked that many beneficiaries of South Africa's land redistribution program opted for financial compensation rather than physical land restitution, which artificially lowers the black ownership percentage. But back to Donald Trump. What is also of great concern was the comments on news articles, Facebook posts, posts on X, and even comments on videos posted on YouTube. I'm going to read some of these comments to you to give you an idea of how the majority, who often are supporters of the ANC, really feel towards their fellow citizens, who happen to be in the minority in South Africa. In a comment on a video on Facebook where ENCA interviewed AfriForum, the following was written: "We don't need America. Triumph can come and take his people if he thinks we don't treat them right." By Triumph, one can only assume it is meant to say Trump. These certain class of people are indirectly asking for refugee in USA by tarnishing the image of our country. Same thing they did when they begging for Australian papers, citizenship. Mark my words, South African does not only have white racists, we also have people who loves this country and will stand for truth. So basically they believe all whites are racists. The real expropriation of land without compensation is coming. Who the hell does Trump think he is? We don't need him. We have bricks. Bricks. Expropriation of land is necessary for equity reasons. We can't have minority have most of the wealth whereas the majority suffer. We know how the settler minority stole land under colonialism and apartheid. Today you want to act as victims. Africans are the real victims of colonialism and apartheid policies that discriminated against natives, stripping them off their land, putting them into reserves. Is this a general belief? Let them return to Europe then. I did not come from Europe. I was born here in South Africa. And then there's this wild gem. The ANC government one day will regret allowing groups like the AfriForum to exist. This thing one day will become a white supremacist terrorist organization. AfriForum must be banned expeditiously. Wow. Certain class he's referring to is racists who like playing victims. Are all white people racist? Then there's another video which was on Facebook, and here are some of the comments. AfriForum, if you don't like the new land expropriation bill, then all of your members are free to leave our country. Our country. It is a good thing that I'm not a member of AfriForum. Or am I? Just because of my skin color? When you hear a racist crying, just know that we're moving in the right direction. They think we are afraid of Trump. Very funny. Land is coming. Who are all these racists? I like Donald Trump's new name in this one. Donald Trumpeter. If you want your people live in peace, come and fetch them. They can live freely and peacefully in their mother's land. Stop fucking us round, please. Big head. I like that one. Can they go to Orania? Are you chasing citizens out of their own country? These clowns must go back to Europe. Also chasing citizens out of the country. We, the regular citizens, suffered big time when you took our land by force. I did not take any land. The following comments were on a video posted by Newsroom Africa where they interviewed AfriForum. AfriForum is a racist organization masquerading as a lobby group for minority rights and should be treated as such. Our country should close shop and not allow any businesses aligned to this racists to operate in our country. All those wealthy Burkanos, nice one, funding them must be exposed and known publicly in society. Enough is enough. It seems there is a general consensus that AfriForum and their members or anyone supporting them all are the same color as them are racists. Let Cyril Ramaphosa impose more tax on whites to fund what the US was funding. That should serve as warning to all those right-wing organizations not to go behind our backs and speak ill of the government of South Africa. That is an interesting solution. We must deport all these rubbish European descendants back to their countries of origin. Donald Trump is the US president, not of South Africa. Another one who wants to chase citizens of the country of South Africa out of the country. The stolen land shall be expropriated without compensation, whether Donald Trump like it or not. This is not USA, where Red Indians were massacred off the face of their own land. AfriForum can go to hell. There is still some kind of a belief that even white people who have never owned any land stole land somehow. To conclude, some people might say that I want apartheid back, but this is not true. What I desire is a simple society where people can live peacefully together without hatred and under a fair, just government that treats its citizens with respect and is held accountable for its actions. While apartheid had its wrongs, revenge is worse. The problem lies in the promises the ANC made that they cannot keep. And the ANC supporters are now seeking land from people who often never even owned land. Also, land ownership percentages should be adjusted to reflect those beneficiaries who opted for financial compensation rather than actual land. I would like to hear your thoughts on this in the comments section. If you found any value in this video, please do like, share and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.